Hi everyone, how are you? We just got done doing breaking even analysis. Now we are going to go into the degrees of leverage. So as we're working on chapter 5, we are learning the various degrees of leverage here. There are 4 of them that we are going to learn for all intents and purposes for chapter 5. So I'm going to make the 4 of them into separate videos so that the video size doesn't become too large. And that's the only reason why I don't want you watching like a 15-minute video. So it's easier for understanding if you're struggling on one to simply rewind 3 or 4 minutes. So let's get to the very first one. This stuff is a lot easier as far as calculating the fixed cost versus variable cost, because they give you that information. If you look in the problem, there is the income statement, and they have taken apart all of your fixed costs and all of your variable costs, and they have completely given you all the bits and pieces of information. What I like to do to help me, and just because I'm an organized person, I take all the bits and pieces of information from my income statement that I'm going to use for these various formulas. These formulas look really rough, but I promise they're not. It's just plugging in the information where you get it from and plugging it into the correct portion. Again, kind of like Accounting 101, it's more of like a puzzle. You get the bits and pieces of information, where do you put it? So I like to take all of my bits and pieces of information that I know I'm going to use that are comprised for these various formulas, and I like to put them off to the side so I don't have to constantly refer back to this and accidentally grab the wrong number or something like that. So I have my quantity of 20,000, my price 60,000, my variable cost 30, my fixed cost 400,000, my interest 50,000, and my EBIT 200,000. So I have all those numbers ready to plug into my formulas. So the very first one is actually your degrees of leverage. And let me read this right from your text. The degree of operating leverage is the very first one, that's A, and it says it may be defined as the percentage of change in operating income that occurs as a result of a percentage of change in units sold. So how much more income am I going to get if I go past that? Remember, we talked about break even. So if I don't want to just break even and I actually want to earn profit, the more I sell, how much more is that going to give me back in income or revenues? So that's really what we're calculating here. So again, this is the degree of operating leverage, and it is Q multiplied by P minus VC, all divided by, that's your numerator. Your denominator is the same Q multiplied by P minus VC minus FC. So, wow, again, that looks like a lot, and you're probably thinking, what the heck does all that mean? But all that is in reference to these numbers from your income statement and plugging them in. So I know that just from having you guys in multiple classes, some of you, I know that there are a few people in this class that are really resistant or uncomfortable, I guess is a better word, of working on algebra. So what I've done here to make it as easy as possible for you guys is, it looks like there's a lot of content here, but it's not. It's just breaking down the steps of what I do first in my algebraic equations. So it looks really difficult, but it's not. So here's the formula. This is in your textbook, in the chapters, in the reading, as well as there's a great example. As soon as you hit the questions in the back of the chapter, there's another example, and they walk you through that as well. So here we are. That's the equation. So number 1 is literally just plugging in the numbers. We got to go find our quantity, which is 20,000. And you look at it, your numerator and your denominator are the same thing, except for this minus FC, which is fixed cost. So just write your quantity is 20,000. Your price per unit was $60. Your variable cost is 30. So it's 20,000. And then in my parentheses, I have 60 minus 30. So I plugged in all those numbers. In the denominator, I have the exact same thing. There's nothing different because the formula calls for the exact same thing, but the difference is minus 400,000. So then the very first thing we do, as we know in mathematics, is we're going to do anything in the parentheses. So there's a subtraction in the parentheses, right? So we have to do that subtraction. So 60 minus 30 equals 30. That's all the second one is. No new numbers, nothing different here. All we started to do is the subtraction here in the parentheses. So it's 20,000 now multiplied by 30. Parentheses mean a multiplication. So the top, again, the numerator and the denominator are the same, minus 400,000. Now step 3, I've done the multiplication. So it's this literally, essentially, this equation right here says this is 20,000 multiplied by 30. So if you take a calculator, take 20,000 multiplied by 30, it gets you 600. So you have 600 over 600 minus 400,000. That's the third tier of my algebraic equation. And then the last one here, we're left, after we've done the subtraction here, we're left with 600,000 over 200,000. So this is a simple division. And if you divide that on a calculator, I don't think most of you, even those not so math friendly folks, you still don't need to use a calculator for this. You'll know that if you take 600,000 and you divide it by 200,000, it's gonna give you 3 times, which is the answer to A, your degree of operating leverage. On to B. Questions, let me know. I'll be on tonight at 8 o'clock. So check it out, walk through the various steps, and your answer is 3 in this case. On to B. See you guys.